Warning: Patrick Davis is a country music singer-songwriter originally from Camden, South Carolina, who now lives in Nashville, Tennessee. While Patrick is a USC alumnus and a huge Gamecock fan, he is definitely not a professional interviewer. Enjoy.
Well, I barely slept a wink last night, 'cause I could hardly wait to wake up this morning on game day. So as soon as I heard that rooster crow, I set off on the road, straight down I-20 to the capital city where the pretty Carolina girls go. 'Cause I've heard all the stories of the great George Rogers, and out back in 1980, he made the whole nation holler. And I've seen that photograph of young Steve Tannehill up in old Death Valley, signing his name on the field. Yeah, and I love to hear 2001 and Phil Williams' Bryce Rock. Yeah, what else can I say? Until my dying day, I'll be a South Carolina Gamecock.
You're watching Patrick Davis and his big old Gamecock great interviews. I'm here with Todd Ellis, quarterback for the University of South Carolina from 86 to 89.
That's the starting time. Yeah, came in 85, but
85.
got to play
Okay.
then.
All right, and he left USC holding I think 26 records, which is pretty astounding. So thank you so much for coming up here, Todd.
Patrick, man, it's good to be with you.
Yeah,
Very
man.
impressive. Broke out the stats there.
Hey man, I checked out. I checked you out, man.
Did your
I checked
studies.
you out. So Todd, what was your favorite part of game day at USC?
Oh, I'd have to say by far, riding in on the bus with the team down Assembly Street.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick, what was cool back then was, of course, they could take us in any route we wanted because we had an escort. But they knew when we rode down Assembly Street with everybody coming from campus, coming to tailgate, coming from Olympia, coming from all over the place in the Vista, that was going to get us the most pumped up.
Why do you believe most of the pretty Carolina girls cheer for the University of South Carolina and the ugly girls cheer for Clemson?
There's no question in my mind. It's the agricultural base up at Clemson that draws those who, I guess, like
Just bigger girls.
Bigger girls. They got to feed them. You got to have them up there.
When you think about Heisman Trophy winner and former Gamecock George Rogers and his running style, what comes to mind?
Oh my gosh, the first ever big back, I think, that really made it on a massive level. Until you saw George Rogers run either live or on film, you had no idea what a massive, fast, human, powerful being he is. It's still remarkable to watch him on highlight. One of my favorite videotapes is his highlight film.
When you think about another Gamecock quarterback, Steve Tannehill,
Yeah.
do you think of his mullet as A, amazing, B, a product of the 1990s, C, the greatest thing to ever touch the back of a Gamecock jersey, or D, all of the above?
I'm going to have to say D. I tell you what's funny is I love Steve Tannehill. If ever there was a kid who you just said winner,
Mm-hmm.
it's Steve Tannehill.
Do you believe that there's any entrance in all of sports as powerful as 2001?
I've never seen anything like at Williams-Brice Stadium. If you take a 7 o'clock game in the SEC schedule at Williams-Brice Stadium, a Thursday night game, or when we played Ole Miss or Kentucky, and you want to tell me you've been anywhere in the world to watch a better entrance in college football, I'll bet you hands down you're lying. It still makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It still pumps me up. It is the one thing in the broadcast that I want to make sure is on 100% the entire time, that if somebody's sitting there in Oklahoma listening to us on the internet or over in Swansea, they get all of 2001.
Now, what do you consider to be your greatest moment as a Gamecock football player?
As a game, maybe a lot of people might not remember. 1988, we're playing Georgia at home. They're ranked in the top 10 in the country, and we're top 20. And my favorite play of all time at South Carolina was a fade route to Robert Brooks, where he caught it one hand in the end zone, kept his feet in.
He was a freshman that year.
That's right. We go on to win the ball game big. We were undefeated at that point. We were highly, we were not expected to win that ball game at all. That's probably my favorite play of all time.
Yeah.
Then beating Clemson at home in 1987, 20-7, and a massive audience watching us for the first time ever on ESPN They showed 2001 right from the beginning. It was a cold night, but I mean, the place was lit up. The environment was like nowhere else in the world. In my mind, that's one of the benchmarks of Carolina football.
You know, got to talk about a heartbreak too when
Yeah.
we're Gamecocks. What's your saddest moment as a Gamecock?
Golly. You try to block those out.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, the NC State game my senior year. We were 5-1-1. We're going to beat NC State that day if I don't get hurt.
Yeah.
We're going to go to our first bowl game and win it under
Yeah.
Sparky. Probably changes everything for
Yeah.
him. And then obviously I didn't get to finish out my career that day. So when I got in that locker room and I'd realized I'd played 42 games with Carolina and started
Yep.
and not going to play another one, then, you know, you can't compare that. I mean, forget about what it did to my future or whatever. It was not, you know, knowing I couldn't run out again with my teammates, knowing again I wasn't going over the practice field. That's what was brutal about it. So, yeah, it was the injury.
You mentioned Sterling and Robert Brooks. I mean, those are two, like, you know, stellar
Unbelievable.
NFL wide receivers. You know, was that just a quarterback's dream come true?
Oh, yeah.
Throw the
I
ball to
mean,
those
like
guys?
anybody else in life, sometimes you don't know what you got until it's gone. And I always knew they were fantastic. And so similar, Patrick. Both of those guys built themselves into being great receivers. They came out of smaller programs, weren't wide receivers when they came out. Well, Robert was a running back. Sterling was kind of an all-versatile player. And just worked and worked and worked until they caught consistently and made plays. And, you know, frankly, right now, if I lined up anybody I've ever watched or played with in my life, I'd pick those two guys first.
Yeah. Now, are you the one that I'm trying to do this off of memory here,
Sure.
but the 97-yard, was that you?
I did, yeah. That was Robert
That's
Brooks
right. I
against
remember
East
that. I
Carolina.
remember that as a kid. I remember like thinking that was just the coolest thing ever.
That was pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing. 97-yard pass is pretty unbelievable.
One of my best buddies, Patrick, was a guy named Kenny Haynes who played left guard for me. And to this day, every time I see him, he knows I'm going to say, you almost blew that record, because he about gave up a sack in the end zone.
Oh, in the end zone. So it would have been a safety versus a 97-yard touchdown.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Do you think it's fair that Georgia students and student athletes are allowed to graduate believing that the proper way to spell dog is D-A-W-G?
You know, I tell you what, Vince Dooley, Mark Richt, all those guys
They can't spell either,
in
is that what you're
Athens.
telling me?
Yeah, it's the top down.
If you could go back in time and relive one moment from
wow.
your playing days at USC.
Oh, my goodness, that is so tough to narrow down. I would put the 86 Nebraska game, the 87 Nebraska game right up there as with it.
Yeah.
I'm not 86, I certainly had control over more. 87, we go up there and knock their quarterback out, and they drive 90 yards on us and score late to beat us. We were ranked high. You know, the bowl games, they were what they were. But I would say one of those two games, my head goes back right to. I would have liked to say I beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers,
yeah.
particularly in the time when they were the heyday.
If you could play with one Gamecock that's either playing now or played before,
Wow.
you know, your years as a Gamecock, well, who would that be?
Mike Holt, who's waiting on us, is pointing at himself, telling me to say Mike Holt.
When I mention the words Clemson Tiger,
Yeah.
what comes to mind?
Oh, there's no question. Michael Dean Perry, you know, Michael, who I love, gave me that scar right there. And he hit me, and I got knocked down on the turf. And it's one of those things where everything's gray. And the lineman picked me up, and they, are you all right? You all right? I said, yeah, I'm okay. Just get me to the couch. That's when you know you're not in good shape. So guys like Michael Dean, who I respect and hate at the same time, I think nowadays is the god-awful uniforms. I think, you know, orange has never been good in my family. My son's known for, when he was 6 years old, he went to a birthday party out of town now, and they serve cake now to a 6-year-old on an orange plate, and he would not eat it, and he would not eat it, and he would not eat it.
Do you feel like it's a good time to be a Gamecock?
I'm not sure, and this is hard for me to say, there's ever been a better time. Best athletes I've ever seen. The head ball coach, who's made it cool again, even at 60-plus years old, to be a Gamecock. Ray Tanner, maybe the classiest guy in sports. I mean, all of sports right now. Yeah. And obviously he's shining with that in our national championship. We still have a great and improving campus all the time with what we're doing. And, you know, we're in the South. Everybody wants to be here as well and be a part of it.
Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Tony Romo or Michael Vick?
Michael Vick.
Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Tomlinson?
Adrian Peterson.
Joe Montana or Brett Favre?
Joe Montana.
Sidney Rice or Jerry Rice?
Sidney Rice.
Lady Gaga or Lady Antebellum?
Lady A.
Dabo Sweeney or Scooby-Doo?
Scooby.
Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
Groucho's Deli or Andy's Deli?
Groucho's.
5 points or the Vista?
Vista, I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I'm getting older.
Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
Hootie and the Blowfish or the Beatles?
Hootie.
Tiger Woods or Ron Jeremy?
I'll go Tiger just because I don't know a lot there, which is a good thing.
Charleston or North Myrtle Beach?
Oh, yeah. North Myrtle. Got my girl there.
Chris Rock or Jerry Seinfeld?
Jerry. I like Jerry.
Halle Berry or Scarlett Johansson?
Halle Berry.
Eva Mendes or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
SEC or any other conference?
SEC all the way.
BCS or playoff?
Playoff.
Marcus Lattimore or any other running back in the country?
Marcus Lattimore.
What are you up to right now? What have you been doing these last, I'll say 6 or 7 years since you played?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for I practice law in the Columbia area and have done so for 15 years. I got a great family. Like I said, I married a Myrtle Beach girl. Yeah. Been married 20 years. We have 3 kids. My twin boys are now playing football and running track, and I have a daughter who's a cheerleader, amazing, who love Carolina football and love to come down to the games.
And will eat nothing off of an orange plate.
That's one definitely thing they will not do is eat off an orange plate. And then, of course, I'm pleased to be the voice of Gamecock football and been doing play-by-play now. This will be my 9th year coming up.
That has to be a pretty big thrill for you.
It is. It's a great honor that I take incredibly serious. And Tommy, the rest of the crew, all of us work very hard because we know it's personal. I mean, you and I talked before, and you remember places you were when you heard calls or watched games with somebody. It's such a personal thing to Gamecock fans that I take a lot of pride in and work hard at it.
It's Todd Ellis, great Gamecock, and won all over the record books. And thank you so much for doing this, Todd. I really, really appreciate it.
Appreciate your work and love the song, of course. Good to see you, man.
Go Cox, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Todd.